Hey everybody, Anish Majumdar here, career coach and expert in the hidden job market. I want to chime in on this question that just came across my desk the other day. I think it's a really important one for a whole bunch of reasons. Let's get into it. So, what should you do, right, in a scenario like the one you see on my screen here, right? 2 weeks ago, I accepted a job offer and handed in my notice. Today, I received another offer that sounds more exciting. How do I handle this, right? Okay. First off, this is not a bad situation to have. In fact, it is my hope that if you're watching this and you have, in any way, shape, or form, ambitions, dreams about your career, I want this to be a regular occurrence for you. Ideally, I would want it to be a situation where, as your career progresses, the business of getting offers becomes easier and easier and easier for you, right? So this situation should not just be an anomaly. It's okay, right? So, let's not look at it as a bad thing, right? But let's look at it as something that needs to be carefully navigated, right? The first question to ask here, are you 100% sure that the new role is not just, chasing a bright shining object, but legitimately better? And what I would do there is not just rely on your own opinion, right? Yes, be right, a comprehensive pro and cons list if you want, right? Of all of the reasons, financially, career-wise, every aspect in terms of what the current job gives you, right? Every aspect of what the new job would give you, right? And ask yourself, right? Is that a clear night and day difference that is worth me making this shift, right? And B, is it worth the risk? Because there's always a risk, right? There's always a sense of, okay, I might go in there and maybe I didn't do my due diligence. Maybe the situation with the company is way worse than I thought, right? Maybe I'm making too big of a deal out of dissatisfying things in the job that honestly you could make better outside of the gate of the first couple of months, right? Because there's an adjustment period, right? So, number one, I would say, is to do the work in terms of getting clear with that. I would also say get out of your own bubble. Do not just rely on yourself for this decision if you can help it in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying ask, solicit advice from 50 different people. Far from it, right? But if you've got people in your corner, you've got a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever, right? You've got a family member that you trust, right? Now is the time to confide in them. Now is the time to let them know what that situation is in as unemotional a way as you can, and just ask them what their take is, right? Does it make sense to them? Right? This is a great way, when you reach out to someone you trust in this way, you have the benefit of empathy, someone who really cares for you, but they don't necessarily have the baggage that you have, right? And that's really important to have a little bit of that outside perspective coming in when you're making such an important decision, right? So be sure, weigh it out, right? If you are sure, number two, let's just be very clear with this. You should anticipate burnt bridges. There is no way that you're going to be leaving this current job. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. You are kind of screwing them over, right? Let's just be very clear with that. So don't try to hide from that. Understand that that's going to happen. So knowing that that's going to happen, how can we minimize the damage, right? One, uh, when you broach this, make sure that your mind is made up. So that wherever that conversation goes with your boss when you're giving in your notice, and I would certainly hope that you would do this in person. This is not an email. This is not a call. Okay. Uh, when you do that, make sure that there's no waffling. Make sure that there's no sense that you can be talked out of it, etc. Because then you're really going to be burned, right? If there's any sense that, hey, you know what, you're not, this is kind of a play, and maybe you're amenable, and then your boss or whatever in that company tries to, and then you still end up leaving, it's going to go bad for you. So be certain, be clear, be very honest about the strategic differences. Don't get caught in a complaining trap. You certainly don't want to use this opportunity to air your grievances or gripes with this company. Far from it. Okay, you're giving up that opportunity in order to leave and move for something better, right? Within that, uh, you know, let's be really clear. For many new jobs, there is a degree of amenability in terms of, okay, there are loose ends that you need to tie up. All right, could you do that here? In other words, could you say, look, I see that what's going on here. I can certainly be here for the 2 weeks. I can advise for maybe a week or two after that informally if you need me to, right? If it makes sense, see what you might be able to do to make things a little bit easier, but don't expect it. Okay, don't expect that you're going to be able to fix this. You are certainly causing a problem. However, okay, uh, the at the end of the day, right? Going back to the my original point here, right? At the end of the day, this is your career. You are the one who's 100% responsible for it. You have a finite period of time to make impact happen. And in order to really do that and to really capitalize on that, there are going to be some toes that you're going to have to step on, unfortunately, sometimes. Not everyone is going to be happy with it. Okay? Not everyone is going to be on board with that, right? That's okay. Right? And if you're looking at a decision like this, it's okay to move to that next job. It's okay to give in your notice. It's okay to be really clear, but be honest. Don't try to minimize. Don't try to BS, and don't try to pretend that everything's going to be great. Understand conflicts happen, and we move on like professionals. You're going to be just fine. I hope this makes sense. I encourage you to keep the questions coming. If you want to go deeper into my world, helloanish.com is where you want to go. Talk soon.